Welcome students to TED 750, an introduction to the course and some vital information for you. First of all, my name is Dr. Deborah Watry. Contact me mostly by email because we are an online course, but I do appreciate it if you need to call me. Also, here's my phone number for you. So you are working with a real live person, and I welcome you to this class. I'm excited about teaching it, and I know that you're going to be excellent students. This is a copy of our text by Yvonne Bui, How to Write a Master Thesis, and I'd like to let you know that it's an excellent textbook. We make use of it. She provides good ideas, organizations, and we do follow it. So I make sure that you do have a copy of this, you read the required readings, and you do take her message to heart and her ideas as we move along to doing our own research writing. Part of our course description, the next few slides are from our syllabus, that this is a research class and expect that type of level of writing, and you're going to be working with an educationally related topic. So already be thinking about possible areas of topic. The first couple of chapters of Bui does, and the resources in the course give you ideas on how to find the topic. So it is a very fast-paced course. I don't know how I can emphasize the amount of writing and reading and researching that you're going to be doing in the next few weeks, because already by the end of week 5, beginning of week 6, you will have your introduction written, your literature review done, and your third chapter on your research method. So again, just keep that as a mindset. It's a very intense reading, researching, and writing course, and it is a 7-week course. So just get your pencils ready, and all I can do is encourage you and let you know that I'll be guiding you along the way. Hopefully you'll have a very, very solid beginning of your research when you're finished with this class. It is a rigid structure. As we take a look at the research, there's a template in there that you have to follow religiously in our course shell. This is the first part, 750. 752 is the second part of the course. So the first part, I think, is rather heavy in the writing piece. The second part is taking a look at the results of your data collection, discussing it, and conclusion. So the abstract doesn't come in until you're finished with your thesis, so that would come in 752. But you'll be focusing on writing that introduction, doing the review of literature, what is already out there on your topic. So it's very an intense literature review, and then setting up how you're going to do your study, the methodology. So we'll get through chapters 1, 2, and 3. Again, I want to emphasize that it's a course very intense on writing and interacting. So already, week 1, you're going to be looking at topics of interest, and you'll do the ethics training. That is done through a website at the university. You must be CITI, it's called CITI, certified in order to do your research. So it takes, I'm thinking about 2 hours or so, and I had to go back and renew my license to be CITI certified. It does take about 2 hours in that, so set aside quality time to get your CITI certification. Week 2, you're already going to be, and you can look ahead. I'm going to encourage you to look ahead. In week 2, you're already going to be researching some of your articles and writing at least 2 of them and finding your sources. So there's information in the course shell on how to use the UW Superior Library. Do make sure that you go to the library. It's all done. You can do it all electronically from sitting at your home and finding the quality resources for your research. But you have to have your topic first and have that narrowed down. So in week 3, you're writing chapter 1, introductory writing of chapter 1. The template, I can't remember if it's like 6 pages, 7 pages, but the template will tell you how many pages that should be and the design. So our Bui text will talk about what goes into the chapter 1. Also, I put in student examples. I think I have 3 student examples from last semester, or last year of students writing, so you can take a look at what does a good chapter 1 look like. And I also put the UW system link to look at outside of UW Superior, other researchers and their writing of master thesis. Chapter 2 is a very lengthy chapter. It's where you're going to do your literature review. What has been already studied about your topic, you're going to organize it around 3 areas. Okay, so I want to take a look at when you get your idea, what 3 possible areas. And again, the WE text will lay it out about how do we design it, how do we propose it. So that literature review, already when you take a look and you want to look ahead, start collecting at least 10 resources. Okay, so that's kind of a minimum. As you take a look at the student examples, take a look at what they put in there for their references. Okay, because that'll give you some idea, what do I need for a base so that I have a sound literature review. Methodology, we get into about week 3 or so. We're going to start talking about the types of research you can do. You can do a qualitative, you can do a quantitative method, and for some of your research, perhaps the mixed method, where you take a little bit of the statistical information, looking for averages or the mean, or you also want to do an interview or a survey and have personal comments from people, and that's more of a qualitative type of approach. So if you put in both, you're using a mixed method. So there are a lot of resources in the course shell, and I've also added a lot of resources, additional resources on how do you do that qualitative, quantitative, or mixed method approach. And then we need to do an IRB proposal. That comes in, I'm encouraging to look ahead. What does IRB mean? We have to have our research approved. Because we're working with students, they're minors, we have to have and this is a university course, they have to protect the university. That's why you get city training in week 1, but you have to do a proposal to the IRB committee at the university about your research. So that happens in week 6. Already in week 5, I put the information out there for you so you can get started on developing a form. And I think I did put a student example of an IRB in there so you can see what does it look like completed. And then after we write chapters 1 and 2 and 3, you put that all together, and that's what happens in week 7. That's your research proposal. So some pointers as we take a look at this. Look at the whole course. That's my first pointer. Look at the assignments, the chapter explanations. Look at it, preview it ahead of time, so there are no surprises for you and you can plan accordingly. I suggest developing a calendar and set aside specific time just for this course, because it isn't very intense writing. You cannot wait until the end of the course or the end of the week to try to write a whole chapter. So you want to take a look at chunking it, as I would call it, and splitting it up so you are doing quality time and I get quality work from you. If I feel we need a weekly video and update, I put that in the course shell, but there might not be something in there at this point because I like to do that weekly update based on questions that you have or things that I see coming through, so I can reinforce and give you some additional information if needed. You can already start collecting your resources after week 1, where you've kind of refined your topic and you know what you're doing. You should have at least 10 or more, I'm saying that again, and these have to be quality resources. And that's why using the electronic resources through the UW Superior Library, that you want to use it, that it's not just something you take off the internet. You want to spend each time there's a weekly discussion. The discussions are worth 3 points, and they are graded accordingly. Did you post on time? That's worth 2 points. Quality post, and you post it on time. And then an additional point for interacting with the other students in the class. So I expect you at least 2 other times to go in there and respond to 4 or more of the students in this course. Spend each week on time as you've previewed ahead and you look at your calendar on doing those assignments. I cannot stress enough that you devote quality time to your writing. This is a research class. This is a class that would require you to write in a more elevated style than what if you were writing a personal letter or a newsletter home or article for the newspaper. It is very elevated writing, for example, using which verb tense do you use for literature review, for your methodology. And just again, I'm going to encourage you to remember it's always past tense. Chapters 1, 2, and 3, it is written in past tense. But devote that quality time to your writing. Follow the APA requirements. That's a large part of the grade. Is your reference listing right? The titles of your articles right? Do you provide the website for the article, not the university website, or the DOI? And I'll talk a little bit more about the APA requirements in just a bit. I cannot stress enough point number 8. I am not an editor of your paper. If it's not written in past tense, if you have sentence and paragraph errors, I will note that and tell you, but that's your responsibility to fix it. If you have a friend that's a good writer, here's the time to tap into them. If you are in a school situation where you can use the English teacher or somebody who has done previous research, you may ask them to help proofread you and check that you follow the APA format. And again, don't hesitate to email me or even call me if you have questions. So some good pointers. I'm hoping that will make this class a success for you. This is from our syllabus here. I do provide timely feedback on all assignments. I go in almost every day, every other day, and check things and make sure that you have questions, I can answer them. You need to spend time each week on our assignments. Basically, it's about 20 hours each week, and that's why I said take a calendar, lay it out, and be religious with it. There's writing that you have to do, especially your chapter writing. There's reading and videos to help you. I get somewhat irritated if a student asks me a question that was in the required reading. So do take some time in reading that and responding, taking time to respond. I might the first time say you're not being active enough in the discussion, but after that there will be a weekly grade and you'll be graded accordingly. The assignments are due on the posted due date, Sunday at the end of the day. And for every day late, you lose 10% of the assignment. Okay, so keep that in mind, whether it's a computer glitch or gee, you just weren't at a computer or couldn't have access, you need to take care of that ahead of time. And after the 4th day, whatever the assignment is, will be given a 0 grade. So your responsibility, okay, and I know I have very good students, but I just want to make sure that you know that little tidbit as the class begins. This is graduate level coursework. Okay, so it has to be well organized, very well written, APA format used throughout. And that's why there's a thesis template that you follow. Where do you put your subheadings? How do you do your page numbers? Okay, how do you list each chapter? So follow the template and the APA resources. Basically, it says format for margins. It's 1-inch margins all the way around. And the heading then will talk about where you find that information. This is done in Times Roman 12-point font. When you submit things, it should be submitted in a Word document for the class so it can be edited and given back to you. So you want to submit in a Word document. So even though you might have a Mac, you're going to have to transform it into a Word document, and you want to be careful of the formatting if you switch back and forth. From our syllabus, this is what happens in each week. It's total of 100 points. So like week 3 is chapter 1. Week 4, there's 2 assignments you do, chapter 2 and another assignment. Week 5 is chapter 3. Week 7, worth 20 points. That's your revised chapters 1, 2, and 3 together. Okay. Sorry this doesn't show up very well. But just so you know that a couple of times during the course I do go in and look at analytics and find out how often are you in the class, are you spending enough time each week, and then it gives me some idea of giving you a reminder, that you need to be spending time each week in the class. So this was a 7-week class. The blue was the actual class. As we take a look at just a couple of the slides from the course, Introductions, this is where you write about yourself. You want to make sure that you do post by October 30th, that you get that in there. There's some things that I keep, I'll put in there, and I moved a lot of the APA resources into a central location, so you don't have to say, oh, what week was that in there? They might still be in the week, but they've all been put in that central location. And the sample master thesis. This is an area where I put in some student samples of actual thesis papers, so you'll see their names, and then the link to the UW system master thesis, so you can see some other student thesis. The APA resources. Okay, this is the main one. It's a link to the Purdue OWL where you can find a table of contents and find what you're looking for. This is how to do citations. Very important that your reference list is APA style, and I do look at that very carefully. Scholarly writing, another point of emphasis. All of your references, if you take them electronically, generally you want to look for a DOI number, or also the direct link to that journal or wherever you've taken it from. It shouldn't say UW Superior in that reference list if it's an electronic. When you're doing a chapter 4 and 5, this is how, maybe you have a figure or a chart you want to put in from your school statistics or something. This is how you would label a resource and how to label them. Very important when you're writing chapters 1 and 2, and again when you're writing chapter 5, how do you write about the research you've read? How do you do those in-text citations? So do take a look at that. You want to be very careful of the use of ETAL. It is only used after the first time you list all the authors. And then after that, you don't want to keep writing all the authors' names. You will use the abbreviation ETAL. This is when you're getting towards the end, chapters 1, 2, and 3 coming together. How do you put a header in there? How do you number those pages correctly? As we take a look at week 1, again, I've put this in every week. A video, if we need one, I'll put one in there to kind of keep you caught up to date. There is one for week 1. Okay, here's the assignments. Here's the link to start working on that city registration. Week 1, reading and materials, or videos, chapter readings, assignments, and so things you need. This is where you're going to spend your time. When I take a look at what are you doing in the class, it's because you're reading the article and watching the videos and so on. And as I've taught the class a couple of times, I found additional resources to help you along the way. So some things for you. From the syllabus again, at the end of the syllabus is what happens in each, again, it's a quick snapshot. What are you supposed to be doing? So the tasks that you need to be doing will be listed for you in the syllabus also. I'm excited for you to be in the class. All of the students that I've had in intro, writing chapters 1, 2, and 3, pass. But I mean, they have to do the work, but I'm here to help and guide you. And I know that I've had excellent research. I've had some good ideas. So I'm here to help you craft it, to design it, and then to write it. But again, I have to emphasize, this is your work. And I know that you're going to do a good job. So I encourage you to put forth a good effort, and we'll be working with you throughout the course. So we're off. Good luck to you.